everyone, and welcome to our 2023 interview with Reverend James McGill, who is a resident of Upson County. He's been here most all of his life. He's a pastor and an author and a well-known member of our community. He served in the U.S. Navy from 1971 to 1974. He has attended the extension of Turner Theological Seminary in Macon, Gordon Junior College in Barnesville, and graduated with his Bachelor's of Arts degree in Behavioral Science with a minor in religion. Pastor McGill has served as a pastor in our community and throughout Georgia for the past 47 years. He's the author of the book, The First 100 Years of Upson County Negro History. Reverend McGill, welcome to our podcast today.
I want to first thank you, the Thomason-Upson County Civic Center, and you, Miss Donna Brown, for selecting me as be part of the second class of the Black History Program. Again, I want to say thank you.
Thank you.
Right.
Thank you for being here.
Right.
I also want to take a moment to welcome Mr. Chris Fagan and thank him for his work in making sure that this podcast is even possible. He's going to take care of getting this out on and ready for us to be able to post on our Facebook page. So keep an eye on our Facebook page in February for these interviews. He has a podcast called Talk Your Culture that airs live on Mondays on Facebook at 7 p.m. And you can also see his podcast on YouTube and Instagram, so be sure and check that out. We'll begin our interview with Reverend McGill now by asking a little bit about your personal life. Who are you? Who is Reverend McGill?
You know, I am a product of the Drake Elementary High School, Robert E. Lee High School, the U.S. Navy, Gordon Junior College, Upson, Texas, and the Mercy University. I've been preaching the word for about 48 years while serving as pastor of over 30 years. I have been married to my beautiful wife, Miss Linda McGill, for over 47 years, and we have one daughter, Kanisha Brown, and a son-in-law, Dr. Darby Brown, M.D., with two beautiful grandchildren, Jordan and Darren Brown, Jr. And like you said, I spend my free time reading the Bible and listening to God's Word and studying history for a time like this. And I'm so glad to be here.
We're glad to have you with us. You told me that you served on the executive board for the Emancipation Committee for about 16 years, and you've been a past president, and this year you're serving as the vice president. Is that right?
That's right.
Tell us a little bit about that experience.
You know, that's really been a dream of my life. In 1921 and 22, my great-great-grandparents, Mr. Henry and Zenola McGill, was on the executive board of the 29th of May in the years when they was here. And history teaches me that the celebration of the 29th of May is one of the soul of Upson County since 1865. What would a man gain if he gained the whole world and lose his soul? And the other soul of Upson County is the celebration of General Robert E. Lee since 1875. You know, the 29th of May have been celebrated in Abraham Lincoln Park for 157 years, and the General Robert E. Lee for 147 years as the soul of the county. And we, with no problem, for these years, we've just been celebrating gifts, and we need to continue to celebrate these souls. But what would a man gain if he gained the whole world and lose his soul? And sometimes we get so much involved trying to gain a lot of things, and we lose the soul because of these two celebrations. We are have been a great county.
That's true. That is so true. Reverend McGill, tell us about your book, The First 100 Years of Upson County Negro History. How did you come to realize that that was something that you wanted to write?
After pastoring for over 30 years, I was struck with two boxes of cancer. I had cancer, and my daughter came to me one day and said that, Daddy, you really have cancer, and it's serious. And the thought came in my mind that God put in my hand that all things work for the good of those who call according to the purpose of God. Mm-hmm. And, you know, and I look back and I knew it was going to work for the good. And the Lord gave me two assignments. He gave me two assignments. He told me to go to the Drake High building. After being diagnosed with the cancer twice in 2011, God gave me two assignments. And our organization, the Upson Men's and Women Action, was assigned to ask the Upson County Board of Education to lease the Drake High School gym for the Boys and Girls Club. And the organization worked to get funds and clean up the gym to give our children a positive place to hang out during the summer. The club was open for 2 years each day, and from 8 p.m. and to 5 p.m. with breakfast, teaching and tutoring the children, lunch and recreation. And every Thursday, the children would load up on the bus to go to different places in Georgia and visit. That was my first assignment that God gave me in that decision. But my second assignment was in 2011 to go to the archive of the campus of Honorees High School to research and write a Black history book, the first 100 years of the Upson County Negro history, which was published in 2017. You know, when I was growing up, there was two tools that I felt that we were lacking. And one of the two was the Word of God. And the second was a history. And this gave us an even table if we knew our history. So God gave me this vision to write this book in 2017, and it's been a good seller. And even now, the book is still selling. And I just thank God for giving Upson County a history book, the first 100 years of the Upson County Negro history.
Can you look back over your life and tell us who would be the person that may have impacted you the most over the years? Do you have one person or do you have more than one?
I have 4 people.
4 people, okay.
You know, the first one was my mother, Mrs. Carolyn Holmes, who was a single parent with 1 daughter and 3 boys. Never had to come to the jail and bail neither one of us out. And all 4 children completed high school and college and are productive human beings in the world. She taught us to respect elders. If an elder in the room, conversation closed. And as we learned to respect the elders. And the second thing that she taught was a teacher is always right until she's proven different. My mother was a cook in the high school cafeteria, and we would run to her and tell on the teacher. And she would tell us, the teacher is right until I prove her wrong. We couldn't go and have no conversation with teachers because they was always right. And then my second was Mr. James Banks. He was a man, taught me how to reach out to risk youth who was about to fall through the crack of life. He had the gift to touch a youth to be an encourager in their weakness season. I remember that I was at conference, Mr. Banks came to me and he asked me to look out for the young people. And he had been a great influence in my life. And the other 2 were great men who fought for the rights of Black people with different teaching. My first one is Mr. Monroe Worthy. He used the Booker T. Washington teaching to fight for the right of Black people. Booker T. Washington believed he who has the goal set the rule. Mr. Worthy would go to the Upson County Board of Education to ask for a better building to educate our kids. He would go to the Upson Ministerial Association to ask for better housing, and to the city council to ask for a swimming pool for our Black community. He didn't have no problem to going in and just sit down and negotiate and talk. And my second item was Mr. J.E. Bidlin. And he used the W.E. Du Bois teaching to fight the rights of Black peoples. He felt that the Black people had a right to be a part of the ruling maker. Mr. Bentley took the Thomason Board of Education, the Upson County Board of Education, the Thomason City Council, and the Upson County Commission to petition the Federal District Court in Macon for better education, houses, and recreation for the black community. And both of these philosophies have molded my thinking of who I am. And I learned that both of them were correct. Both of them made things happen, but they were only for a season. And I just take these two and I trust in God, because I know that anything that God have his hand on, it be eternal. So we learn to just trust in God. And we can't get angry because people got different philosophy, different culture that we have. We have all come to the table and just talk and make a better place to live.
Yes, sir. What would you say you are most passionate about when it comes to you making a positive impact on our community?
The most thing that I am passionate about, I am very passionate about Upson County having a positive history conversation and realizing that a historic conversation is not to find out how great or small you are. It is to find out what mistake was made that got us in our current situation. Without the knowledge of our past or origin, our culture, is like a tree without a root.
That's a good analogy. Out of all your achievements, what would you say would be your most memorable? What stands out in your mind the most?
The thing that stands out in my mind the most, after being diagnosed with cancer, our organization, Us Men's Action, went out and started a Boys and Girl Club. As the organization worked for the community to come together. And the next one is the assignment of writing the book, or the the Upson Negro, first 100 years of Upson County Negro history.
What are some challenges that you faced during your life that helped you to grow into the man that you are?
The most challenge that I faced in my life, it occurred in the 60s. The challenge was when we was called on to give up our school, the Drake High School, and go and be a part of the R.E. Lee High School. And it was a different culture. It was a different history. It was a different mindset. And being only 17 years old and without a father in the house, a single parents, there was a lot of questions that we could not understand. And it really got next to me because I was the president of the student council at Drake, and I was threw out there to be Dr. Martin Luther King, to march, to demonstrate. And that was very challenging. But as we grew older and we understand that that was just a season that we had to go through, and we couldn't let that season determine our destiny. We couldn't let that season determine how we treat other people. Because God said we got to love ye one another, and we got to treat other folks like we need to be treated. And that was the challenge early in my life.
Do you have any goals that you've not yet accomplished that you'd like to share with us today?
The goal, which is my passion, the goal that I have yet to accomplish is to see in this lifetime the Emancipation Committee will have deeds to their own land to celebrate the 29th of May. And that is the only way that we can move forward, is continue to pass our heritage on. And because of the way things are today, our heritage is in danger. And like I said, we need to have something to pass on to our next generation to tell them how our ancestors led us, to where we at now.
Chris, did you have any other questions you'd like to ask today?
No, I don't have any questions. I do have something particular I would like to say to Mr. McGill.
Sure.
I actually owe Mr. McGill an apology. I was going to personally apologize, but the incident wasn't personal, it was public. So I wanted to wait for an opportunity for me to publicly apologize. I was going to do it actually after your book was published. I was going to make a status about it, but for whatever reason I kept forgetting it. I guess it just totally slipped my mind. But when I saw your name on the panel, I knew that this would be a perfect time to do that. So let me explain what the apology is about.
Okay.
I think it was 2017, maybe 18. The young men was playing basketball, Upson Lee. They was undefeated. Nobody had beaten them. And they were just taking a whole lot of ridicule from other counties, some Georgia representatives in the high school basketball world, like they wasn't giving them the guys credit due. And they were just taking a lot of slander that we wasn't going for. As fans, parents, we was protecting these kids. So if we caught anything that just felt like it was just negative towards the children, we checked it. And we checked it with harsh remorse. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I think Mr. McGill kind of caught some of that fire by mistake. We was already lashing out on people. And he came on someone's status and he was trying to advocate that these guys take the SAT test. If not take the SAT test, he was going to help them study for it, prepare for it, because your legs and arms don't just get you into college.
Right.
When my nephew was recruited, his first recruitment was about his grades. They had never saw him play. They didn't care how many points he had. All they cared about was his grades. At a particular time, we didn't receive it. We took that as he was just someone else coming on here being negative, so we went at him harshly. And once we, I think he talked to my friend Eve about it. And once he explained it, I was like, you know what? All he was trying to do was just help them young men. And he was right, because a lot of those kids was not sufficiently ready for the SAT. My nephew was. You know, a lot of the guys were, but some of them wasn't. And it's all he was trying to do. He was trying to protect their integrity of moving forward. He didn't know that at the time. And we kind of jumped all over him a little bit. So I just want to take this opportunity right now to publicly apologize to Mr. McGill. He had great intention, and he was right, and I'm truly sorry.
That was the Mr. James Banks in me. And like you say, and I gave him his word that I would deal with that. And like you say, but the credit should go to Camilla
Ziegler.
Camilla Ziegler, when she brought the talent search of the county. She brought all of that in. And like I said, and that's when Upson County started getting attention, because that would work. And like you say, that was a part of my Mr. Banks. He left that with me. And like I said, and that's where I'm at. And that moved to I accept your apology, but that moved to my last point on what would you say to the youth and young adults that you come in contact. I would share with them that I grew up in the alley. Cause all the streets in Color Town was named Alley. And the oldest cats in the alley would talk to us kids. And they had told us three things that I would share with you, and I would share to the young people. The three things that they taught us was go to school. We didn't get caught on Bethel Street doing school out. The second thing was get a job. And the third thing was treat others like you want to be treated. And so this is the way I try to carry myself. And I know that it's all about education. When Mr. Bank left, he said he was going to retire. I didn't know he was going to die. But he started a group called the Us Men's and Women's of Action. And we got young peoples together. And we not only had played softball on the weekend, but we got them and took them to other schools so they can be introduced. We also found a class over in Macon where the teacher would teach them SAT. And my daughter started from the 9th grade. And like I said, if her friend wanted to be with her, she got to go there. And the thing happened when she got to 12th grade, we should travel around and we get scholarships. They were scholarships. And my daughter had in her mind where she wanted to go. And they would offer her scholarships because and she would bring them back to the class. And the class was already qualified because of the work of Us Men's Action. And they would get the scholarships and they go to school. Everybody in the class go to school. So that is very important.
Yeah. Do they still, is it a requirement to still do SATs, or do they have inserted something else now?
They are bagging up on SAT, but they still deal with character.
Because I do know that my sister was hounding my nephew his sophomore year actually about the SAT.
Right.
She told him don't wait. She told him go ahead and try to tackle it. From his sophomore year, he went into it.
My system for that, and I passed on my daughter. I got my daughter past the SAT her junior year. Her first day that she went to school, she went directly to the council office and got 3 applications and sent them off. And by November, October, she already been admitted to what? Sierra School. Okay? And my grandson, he's graduating from Brookstone. And this is what? By November, he already been accepted to Morehouse.
So
It's called early admission.
So you saying it may or may not be a requirement, but it's still necessary.
It's character.
It's still necessary.
It's character. I mean, like anything that you can do about character. You know, like I said, if a person look at your application and see that you're working hard, that person got good character. You know, a person by the time they get to sophomore, they need to start writing resumes. Everything that they have done, like say if your cousin or nephew have worked with you on this part, write it down on a resume, and it's all about character. And like I said, and SAT and ACT is not as big as it used to be, but it's still important.
Still important. Good.
All right. Well, Reverend McGill, thank you so much for being with us today. We appreciate all that you've shared with us and the wisdom that you've brought to this interview today. We look forward to seeing you at our Black History Month on February the 26th.
Again, I just want to thank you. I want to thank the Upson County Civic Center. I want to thank you. I want to thank Kim and all the staff that involved.
Thank you.
This is a great program. It's lifting up our history because our history is very important. So again, I want to thank you for allowing me to be a part of the second class.
You're
and
welcome.
I hope there'll be many more.
Thank you. Thank you. We appreciate it so much.